Number 2 of campaign week, and today we'll be talking about racism, and Aaron's joined me, he'll be talking about it as well, little bits.
A little bit about racism.
And firstly, I'm going to apologise for the lateness in the day for it being released, as it's so hard to find out information on the internet about racism that's actually just not other people's extreme ideas and often just really one-sided opinions. So, but now, with me being like a middle-class, white, British male, I don't really experience much discrimination in general. I can't say that I'm racist at all. I don't really experience any racism. But my grandparents and I frequently have like the immigration debate about all the people coming into the country, whether we're for or against or whatever, which I'm completely for, it's fine. Though we have good arguments for both sides, we never really come to any kind of middle ground about what decision could be made about it. So, well, even though we're very open-minded and nice people who care for each other, so we can't come to any kind of conclusion that either of us agree on. So I don't really envy any kind of politicians in that respect for having to make these decisions about policies and stuff with people they are competing with and probably don't even like very much. And I'm always generally of the opinion that we're a world community, not just a bunch of separate islands with customs and religions. We're on a little planet in the universe much bigger than any of us could really comprehend. So why fight with people who live a few hundred miles away, either over just on the other side of an ocean or just over a border for a country? And in the end, we're all from the same kind of primordial soup. We just grew up in different ways, which in some cases meant our skin lightened, or our eyes changed colours and lightened, or our hair changed to lots of different colours. Because if we all came from Africa and then spread across the earth, our ancestors would all have been extremely dark-skinned, dark-haired and dark-eyed. So the people like me and Aaron, who are naturally blonde-haired, blue-eyed and quite pale-skinned, are part of a change that we undertook when we moved to lands which are colder, like up north in England and things like that. Everything is much colder and rainier, so we don't need everything that protected us from the sun. From the sun. So we didn't need the darker skin and things like that, the darker eyes to protect us from the hot and brighter climate. But I digress. That's an issue I know little about, and it just makes sense to me. Racism, though, is a delicate issue, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it. So it makes formulating my own ideas on the subject very difficult. But what I do generally believe is that if we stop talking about it and raising issues about whether we are one colour or another, we would be able to focus our efforts on things that are much more important. Like, one of the quotes I love about racism is from an interview with Morgan Freeman. When asked how to get rid of racism, he just says, stop talking about it. He mentions that he's going to stop calling you a white man, the interviewer, and I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. So just stop talking about it and making an issue out of it will help it go away. But something I did find on my travels through the interweb that I did like and kind of follows the teachings that I live my life by and everything I've learned and use in placements and working in schools, was just to let the children play. When asked what should we do to stop racism, and I believe that's kind of the right thing to teach our children, to love other people regardless of how people look or how they live. And I think the world will be a much better place eventually if we learn to live by that. So let's pass on to Aaron and see what kind of views he has on it.
One of the issues surrounding racism that affects me is from where I come from. I come from a farming town in the middle of nowhere, and we have a lot of Eastern European workers that come over to do the sort of jobs that some Britons might not necessarily want to do. And one way that racism has affected me is certain British people or certain people around where I live, very at times old-fashioned people, sometimes people who have been influenced by the way racism has sort of developed over the past years, to sort of say, why are these people over here doing these jobs? They're unemployed people in Britain. Why have we got so many foreign workers over in this country? And one thing that annoys me, this is coming from certain people who just are unemployed and don't want to do the jobs themselves. It just seems very hypocritical that we're accusing foreign workers of coming over here to do a job where they're only getting paid a little bit more than what they would be they're getting paid a little bit more than what they would be in their country, but it's still not a very large amount for the sort of hard labour they do. And for some reason we're being racist because of it. We're not appreciating the sort of what positive effect they have on our sort of like agricultural economy or anything like that. That is all I have to say. Thank you.
Cool beans. Right, so we shall leave it there for tonight, as that's probably a good 4 or 5 minutes worth of talking, and we shall leave you to it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow about domestic violence. And like usual, I'll leave all sorts of numbers and websites and stuff at the end of the video for you to have a look at, and just where I found all my information that was either useful or not to you. So, bye!
Nice accurate wave.